This sassy bottom is beginner friendly and perfectly functional for swimming or just splashing around at the beach, so get ready to stitch up some sunshine. Introducing our cheekiest yet Crochet Penelope Bottom. And if you missed this matching bralette, just head on over to the description box below to get the link. To get started, we'll need a black and white yarn from Cascade Fixation, a 3mm crochet hook, some stitch markers, a tape measure, a tapestry needle, and most importantly, an elastic band, which I've placed a link of all these items in the description below. To start, let's grab our black yarn and work up a slip knot. I'm making a size small, so I'll start with a chain of 50, and for all the other sizes, you'll be able to find them in the description below. So go ahead and work up your chains. We'll be working from the front first, and I'll show you how to increase the back if needed later on. Once you've completed all your chains, when stretched, it should be able to reach both sides of your hip bone. Next, you'll chain 1 to start the next row. Now into the second chain from your hook, you'll work a half double crochet 2 together. So you'll yarn over, you'll insert your hook into the second chain from your hook, you'll drop a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the third chain from your hook, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through all loops. Next, we'll work a half double crochet into each chain all the way across until the third last stitch. And once you're at the third last stitch, you'll go ahead and work a half double crochet 2 together or a decrease stitch into both of the last chain. For your next row, you'll chain 1, you'll turn your work, and on the second row, we'll be working 2 decrease half double crochet stitches. So just like how we did earlier on, we'll be working 1 half double crochet 2 together, followed by another half double crochet 2 together. So these are 2 decrease stitches. And from here, you'll just be working 1 half double crochet all the way until the 5th last stitch and work 2 more decrease stitches. For some of you that might be concerned that working with black yarn is going to be hard to see. However, with some extra lighting and knowing your stitch spacing, this will be able to help in making your stitches a lot easier. And I promise to walk you through each step so that my explanation will be able to guide you throughout this tutorial. Once you've reached that 5th last stitch, go ahead and work that half double crochet 2 together decrease stitch, and you'll do that once more. For the next row, you'll chain 1, you'll turn your work, and you'll be repeating what you did on the last row for another 6 more rows. So basically, you'll be working 2 decreases at the beginning and at the end of each row, and working regular half double crochets in the middle. So you'll do this 6 more rows, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Once you have 8 rows made, it should curve in slightly like this. Now we'll be working towards the crotch. For the next row, we'll be working 1 decrease into that first and second stitch. So you'll go ahead and yarn over, insert your hook, drop a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, and pull through all loops. You'll half double crochet all the way across until the 3rd last stitch. And once you've reached that 3rd last stitch, you'll work a decrease half double crochet 2 together into the last 2 stitches. You'll chain 1, turn your work, and repeat the last row of 1 decrease at the beginning and at the end of each row for 6 more rows, or until you have 6 stitches remaining. I'm making this for size small, and if you're looking for all the other sizes, go ahead and find them in the link below. Once you have 6 stitches remaining, you've basically completed the front side of the bikini bottom. Now I know some of you might think that the crotch side is a little bit too small or too narrow, but then bear in mind we will be adding borders to the side. Now from your last stitch, we'll be working the same number of stitches. In this case, we have 6 stitches. We'll be working half double crochet stitches into each stitch for a total of 10 rows. Now this pattern is made for a cheeky cut, which means it has a narrower back, and if you prefer a much wider back, then once you have reached half the total length of your bikini bottom, you'll want to work an increased stitch on both ends of each row on every row, and you'll do this until you've doubled the size in total length. In this case, I have doubled the crotch length where my stitch marker is, and then I will go on to increasing each row at the beginning and at the end of each row, which will give me a narrower finish. Now, if I fold the crotch in half where the stitch marker is placed, it should match the height on the other side. Now let's start working on the back of the bottom. We'll work 2 half double crochet stitches into that first stitch. Next, we'll half double crochet each stitch across. And then we'll work another 2 half double crochet stitches into that last stitch. You'll chain 1, turn your work, and you repeat what you did on the last row by working an increased stitch into that first and last stitch on that row, and you'll do this until you have 14 inches or 35.5 centimeters in total length. Once you've completed all your rows, it should look something like this. Now, if you fold your work in half, where the stitch marker is, you'll want to make sure that the rows are aligned. Now we'll be making the sides. From your last stitch, go ahead and pick up your work. And for size small, I'll be working up a total of 26 chains. Once you've completed all your chains, go ahead and pick up the opposite side, and you'll insert your hook into that first stitch and work up a slip stitch. And you'll chain 1 to secure. Now before binding off, make sure to leave a really long tail in case you need to adjust the band later on. Now we'll just be repeating what we did on the other side. You'll insert your hook into that last stitch on that row. You'll draw up a loop. And from here, you'll work the same number of chains as you did on the other side. You'll pick up the other end of the bikini bottom and insert your hook into that first stitch to join by working a slip stitch and chain 1 to secure. Once you've completed both sides, and before moving on to the next step, you want to take a tape measure and measure the width of the band when stretched, making sure that the width of the band is at least 2 inches or 5 centimeters bigger than your widest hip. Otherwise, just open up the chains and adjust them accordingly. Once you have the width of the band in place, go ahead and work 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch and into each chain all the way in the round. Once you've worked your way all the way in the round, and before joining in the round, we will be switching yarn colors. But first, you'll insert your hook into the first stitch in the round. You'll pick up your white yarn and you pull through the white yarn to close up that stitch. Now with your white yarn, go ahead and work a chain 1 to secure. We won't be working with the black yarn anymore, so go ahead and snip it off. Now for the next round, go ahead and pick up the excess tail and work 1 half double crochet into that slip stitch that you did earlier on and work around the excess tail. You'll continue to work a half double crochet stitch into every stitch in the round. Once you've completed working your half double crochet in the round, you'll work a slip stitch into that first stitch to join, and we'll go ahead and make one more round. Don't forget to pull your loop as high as a half double crochet should be to work that first half double crochet stitch. Now you'll just continue to work one more row of half double crochet stitches with the white yarn. Once you've completed 2 rounds of half double crochet stitches using the white yarn, and on your last stitch we'll be switching yarn colors. So go ahead and insert your hook into that first stitch. You'll pick up your black yarn and pull through the black yarn to close up that stitch. You'll chain 1 to secure, and you can go ahead and snip off that white yarn. We'll also be adding the elastic bands, so go ahead and grab your elastic band. Here I have a round cord that is about 1/8 of an inch, which you can find in the link in the description below. You'll put it between the loop and your working yarn. Now to start, we'll work a half double crochet stitch into that first stitch while carrying the excess tail and working around the elastic band. So you'll have 3 strands that you'll be working with around each stitch. So you'll continue to work a half double crochet stitch into every stitch while working around the cord, and I'll meet you back here 10 stitches before closing up this round. Before completing this last row, you want to pull both ends of the cord. I'll hold on to one end of the band, and when I pull the end of the cord, I'll be able to feel it along my fingertips. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll pull the cord end, and I'll hold on to the other side of the band, and when I pull the cord, I'll be able to feel it along the side. You also want to make sure that they're not bunched up or too spread apart. And in order to do that, you'll hold on to one end of the band and you'll just spread them apart with your fingers like so. And once you're happy with the elasticity of the band, you'll snip off the cord and leave some length to tie. You'll take both cord ends and make sure that they're underneath the working yarn, and you'll go ahead and make a double knot. Make sure they're tight and secure. Next, you'll pick up your hook and you'll continue to half double crochet around the cord and the tail as well as the knot. And make sure that the working tail is between your working yarn and your loop. You'll continue to work your half double crochet stitches all the way across. And once you're done, make sure to have the cord tail placed at the back. You'll work a slip stitch into the first stitch to join and a chain 1 to secure. You'll bind off and you'll also cut off any remaining cord. You shouldn't be able to see any of the knot from the back. And once completed, you should have a really nice and stretchy band. Now let's work on the leg opening. We'll be working the same pattern as we did on the top band. So you'll turn to the crotch side with the right side facing up, and you'll insert your hook where the stitch marker was. You'll pick up your white yarn, you'll pull up a loop, you'll chain one to secure. Now from here we'll be working 2 half double crochet stitches into every row. And don't forget to also pick up the excess tail and work around them. You could also spread the work apart in order to see each row. And once you're used to it, you should be able to tell the spacing between each row. And once you've completed the row side, you'll just work 1 half double crochet into the stitch side all the way across. And once you reach the row side, you'll continue to work 2 half double crochet stitches into every row all the way in the round. On your last stitch, you'll just work a slip stitch into that first stitch. You'll pull the first loop high as a half double crochet should be, and you'll work a half double crochet stitch into every stitch in the round. On your last stitch, you'll insert your hook into that first stitch. You'll pick up your black yarn and pull through to close up that stitch. You'll chain one to secure, and now we'll be adding the elastic band. So you'll grab your elastic band and you'll place it between your loop and your working yarn. And go ahead and snip off the white yarn. We won't be using it anymore. Now you'll go ahead and work a half double crochet stitch while carrying along the excess tail and working around the cord. You'll work half double crochet stitches all the way across in the round. And I'll meet you back here 10 stitches before closing. Once you've worked your way all the way in the round, you'll go ahead and pull each end of the cord, making sure that they're nice and taut. You'll spread them apart just to ensure that they're not too tight. You can go ahead and snip off your cord and make a double knot. Make sure that they're tight and secure. Now, just like before, you'll place the cord between your working yarn and you'll continue to half double crochet all the way across. On your last stitch, make sure to place the elastic cord at the back. You'll work a slip stitch and a chain one to close up this round. And there you go, you've just completed one side of the leg opening. Now you'll do the exact same thing on the other side, making sure to work on the right side. This is the right side, and if you turn your work, this is the wrong side. So you'll be working the opposite direction, but working on the right side. And I'll meet you back here once you're done. And once you've completed the other side, go ahead and bind off and weave in all loose ends. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, do give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to get in on all the latest free patterns if you haven't done so yet. I'll be seeing you soon. Bye for now.